Alrighty, my Dominican peeps, where are you? It's pleasant good evening to all of you guys at this time. I want to say a special good evening to all of you locked in at this time. It's always a pleasure, Dominicans, to be in your company wherever you are, be it you're in Dominica, this little special island, this little special rock. Our people call it Waiti Kubuli, that is the indigenous people of the land. It's always a pleasure. Those of you in the region as well. I know I have many folks in the region listening and locked in. Even though you're not from Dominica, but you take keen interest in what is happening in this little country called Dominica. Thank you very much. Those of you further afield, those of you on the big blue marble, I call it, anywhere and everywhere. Thank you very much for tuning in. Every Saturday around this time, my folks out there, a pleasant good evening to you guys. I know some of you, in terms of the time difference, that is 6 hours, 12 hours ahead. So wherever you are, it's always a pleasure to have you on board. All right, Dominicans, we are set for another very interesting program this evening. So please make yourself feel very comfortable at this time. It is sort of on the chilly side in Dominica. So you may want to get something warm, some juice, some water, like myself here, whatever you have, just to chill. And so, yes, we are there and ready to go. The 21st day of October, 2023, and that is the date of today in Dominica. Folks, we in Dominica, we just had some earlier showers. Well, where I am at now, in Cochrane, we had a serious piece of shower about an hour ago there, about 45 minutes about there. The place is still very gray, very gloomy. When I looked outside on my porch area, I could see, the mist, very misty conditions. From where I am at in terms of vantage point, I can normally see sometimes, down towards the west and towards the south there a bit, but this evening I really and truly could not see none of that. It was very misty, and so that was expected. And so we are all going through, we are all reeling through now the effects of Tammy, that weather condition that developed some time back. All right. We want to, although we have been spared, I'm being told, from the real wrath of Tammy so far, for some miraculous reason. It was basically based on trajectory, based on its track. It was set to, as the weather people said, I am quoting them now, I'm no weather professional in that regard, but just me putting my 2 pence together based on the images that came forth. It was set to pass over or even settle over Dominica for some time. But for some miraculous reason, as I said before, it veered off a bit, a slight turn towards the north. And so the ravage, the full force of Tammy that we were expected to get, that is still sort of baffling the weather people so far. But having said that, nonetheless, we are still asked by the weather people to pay attention. Please don't let down our guard in any respects. More rain, much more rain is expected to come. A matter of fact, when I looked out earlier, the cloud is very gray. I could not see a patch of blue cloud, and so the cloud is thick. It is dense with rain, with water, and so that water, some of it got released earlier today, about an hour ago. But we are expected in the hours of the night, that is into tomorrow morning, maybe into the weekend, Monday to a small extent, we will be subjected to some water still from Tammy. And so those of us who are living close to ravines, rivers, whatever it is at this time, something is just, a little sugar ants is just passing across my face here. Those of us who are living in areas prone to flooding, we are asked to take precaution, all the precautions there is, because we are not out of the woods as yet totally. That is, those of you guys who have to go out over this weekend to party, to celebrate one thing or the other, please be very, very, very cautious in that, all right? Yeah, because we're not out of the woods as yet. Those of our sister countries in the region, Antigua, Barbados got some lashing, Guadeloupe got something earlier, Martinique. I'm being told Antigua now is really going through some rough time. They're now seeing some rain, and much more is expected to come. At least they're projecting 10 inches, 12 inches of rain. I gave a report to Nice FM, at least 2 reports to Nice FM and Antigua earlier from Dominica, and you know, those of you in Antigua and Barbuda and further north, St. Kitts and Nevis, etc., please be prepared as well, because Tammy is not your usual weather system. Is not. And so on that note, I want to thank as well as Son of the Soil in the name of Dr. Thompson Fontaine. Dr. Thompson Fontaine, wherever you are this time, my brother, I want to thank you for a job well done. Every season, every time you take time off to help prepare us as a people, help give out that information so that your people could be very, very safe and secure. Although it did not turn out as you projected, but we still want to thank you very much for your commentary, for your education, for taking time off and basically just helping your people understand every time what we are facing in terms of atmospheric conditions. All right. Yeah, so as I said, we're not totally out of the woods yet, people. So please be very, very, very careful still. Landslides are still prone to come down. The rivers still can overflow the banks. So please, let us be very, very, very careful out there. All right. Dominicans, having said that to us, let me touch now on some international matter before we move across to regional matters and of course our local matter indeed, or local matters indeed. The war, it's no longer conflict, it's a war now, because lives have been lost on both sides of the fence, at least on one side of the fence more than the other. But the war is raging on between Palestine and Israel at this time. There's also another war 2 years on now between Ukraine and Russia. So basically a section of the world is in war. People can't live together. And so it's on that note, I want us as a people now to continue to at least have them in our hearts, our prayers, our mind, our thoughts. Because losing one life is one too many. And so far, in that part of the world, many, many lives have been lost so far. So we just ask you guys to continue to keep these people in our hearts, prayers, and our thoughts at this time. And pray that good sense prevail. That these leaders, these people who can bring some kind of rational, some kind of common sense in the heads of the ordinary people who are participating one way, shape, or form in that back and forth as it pertains to guns, bullets, and bombs flying everywhere, that thing cease in the interest of peace. All right? Yeah. Dominicans in the region, as I said before, we heard and we're still hearing that Tammy, the system named Tammy, is still doing havoc in our region. And so from the northern section to the southern section of our region, we want to keep these people in our hearts, prayers, and thoughts as well, because they too, they are going through really, really trying times. All right, we well remember our own scenario with Hurricane Maria, where Hurricane Maria basically decimated our country to the ground. We also remember Tropical Storm Erica before that also did a number on us. And so it's in that vein that we want to remember these people, especially the flatter territories among us, where at least 2-3 inches of rain is enough to cause a lot of havoc. All right, and so we want to at least thank the Creator for at least sparing us so far in Dominica this situation. All right, this this atmospheric condition called Tammy. Okay, folks. Yeah, so Dominicans, as I said, it's another time of engaging. It's already quarter past the hour, and so let me now get into just giving us an idea of just where the conversations rather will be taking us tonight in terms of the information tonight. First and foremost, I will be telling you what I know about a situation the Grotto in Dominica. All right, the Grotto have been going through some situations of late, and so I'll be telling you what I know from a very factual standpoint the elderly in Dominica where they are housed. Also, there's a sitting minister of government in Dominica. I'm going to give you some just touch on some information as it pertains to that minister. You'll be getting to know that minister's name when I go deeper into the meat of things. I'll also be having a conversation with us Dominicans as well, as we are now in the heat of celebrating 45 years after we broke away from England. We in Dominica celebrating 45 years of that. And I'll be telling us some things. I hope you too can tell me some things as to really and truly whether that was the right move in the first place. And secondly, and even more importantly, whether we are truly an independent country as we call ourselves in Dominica. Also too, just in part, I will be touching on the latest developments that have been coming out from the reporting, the very investigation that have been coming out through the reporters out of the OCCRP. I'll be touching on some of that to tell you what I know thus far. But tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, just around that time, another investigative journalist last week on Civic Vibes, we had brother, his name just eluded me at this time, but it'll come. We had this brother who came here and basically told us what he knew, what is going on with these reportings. And tomorrow we're going to have another brother as well. Yeah, Tony Harari. Yes, that's the name. Thank you, Cecilia. Tony Harari, Catherine George, thank you as well. You guys are much more sharp than me, huh? Yeah, Tony Harari was our guest last week. He did a formidable job, I must say. In the space of 45 minutes, he really and truly gave us the information from his very factual standpoint based on his knowledge. Tomorrow, if all things being equal and Domlek, because of late it is a very precious commodity to have lights, power. So if Domlek holds up under the rain we may get tonight, then tomorrow at 6 o'clock we'll be having another brother, another journalist, in the name of Brother Zach Coplin. Yes, he, I'm being told, is working at the OCCRP in some way, shape or form as well, and he will be giving us a much more in-depth analysis, that is, of some aspect of the program in Dominica. For sure, he, I'm being told, worked extensively on the story that emanated out of Spain. And we all know that football club in Spain, that is, they call it the La Liga League, I believe. Yes, the La Liga football club in Spain. He did some work into that football club, and some things came out of that. And the very surprising thing that he found was that a passport or some passports were doled out to some persons who are associated to that football club, and so he will be going into much more detail as to where that is concerned. So please be in tune for that discussion tomorrow. Whatever you have to do, make sure you get yourself ready for at least 5:45, so that when we go bang at 6 o'clock, then you won't miss a word from this brother. Let me big up Brother Alvin Thomas as well. Tremendous brother in that regard, and also the Civic Vibes team for basically doing the hard work for us. It's a team's effort. A lot of times you just see Alvin and I up front, but there is a team of people at the back that basically make our work very, very simple, very, very easy. The French would say very facile for us, and so we want to thank these people in a very, very big way as well. All right. What else I have for you guys on the cards tonight? Okay. Of late, we also have been hearing a statement from a minister in government as it relates to the CBI program. I can say she, it have been making rounds around the internet of late. And so we'll be playing that statement and trying to extrapolate some things that was said then on a campaign trail of the Dominican Labour Party and see if that campaign promise was fulfilled in any way, shape or form. All right, so we'll be going back to that statement all the way back in the campaign of 2019, I believe. Yes, 19. On that note as well, people, many of you folks have been asking. I know a lot of you have been asking, Lofty, when are you going to bring forth, as it were, the YouTube aspect of this Facebook Live that you're doing? And so I'm very pleased to tell you out there that I listened to your call, and I've worked on it. And so yours truly YouTube channel is up and running now. I said before I put it out in terms of a promo on my page, let me just tell you guys straight up, so that when you guys see it out there, it will be no surprise to you guys. So yes, it goes by the name on YouTube as Lofty Live, LL. All right, so you can just go right now as we speak, go into YouTube and plug in, enter Lofty Live, Lofty Live, and some of the videos that I do and I continue to do, they will be uploaded there, so that is just another platform for us to get the necessary information. I know a lot of folks have been asking, Lofty, you need a YouTube version, you need a YouTube channel, you need something on YouTube. All right, so it is up and running, and so I just want you guys to be aware of that fact as well. The good thing or the bad thing about YouTube, I'm learning as I go along, is that for us to go live, or for me to go live on YouTube so that you can see what is happening and hear what is happening on YouTube, then I need at least 1,000 of you now to subscribe. Subscription doesn't take much. You just go on the page and just click that subscribe button, and so you can add value to what I do for us in Dominica. All right. Yeah, so I need at least 1,000 subscribers, so that once we get to that magic number and beyond, then we can now nice it up in terms of, you know, doing whatever technology can afford us to do. All right. I think that is it in terms of information for now, as we are moving on here. So Dominicans, without further ado, or those of you as well who are stuck in the region, I pray to God that you get some kind of accommodation in terms of coming to country. I know most of you are coming home to celebrate independence celebrations, whatever it's worth. But you guys are stuck out there because of Tammy. Yes, so, you know, we wish you guys success in that department. All right, Dominicans, before we move further, let me go to some of your names. I know many of you are there already, 217 plus, I can see. Georgette Henry, Augustina John, Catherine George, Janice Jacques, Larrock, Martine Carol, Adeline Shillingford, saying greetings and blessings, everyone. Great to see you, Lofty. London, UK is locked as usual. We are listening attentively. Margelle Durand says here, good evening. Rose Indifwedi. Margelle always have something to plug in. Margelle, good evening to you and the family, my brother, at this time. Augustina John says, Brampton, Ontario, Canada is locked and listening. Julius Corbett, brother Corbett, good evening to you in a very, no, not Julius Corbett, sorry. Julius Corriet, that is there. But I also want to say good evening to brother Julius Corbett as well. We have Cara Alcy, Blanc Denise, Dave Bertrand, Larry Lloyd, Cecilia Bedminster, Dave Toulon, Griffo Daniel, George Sierra, Ramona St. Rose, Mavella Defoe, Bernice Cothy, Estella Labassiere, Claralyn Warrington, Myrtle Lucian, Sunshine G. Lloyd, you're also there. She's saying here, well, I'm here since Tammy hold me up. I wish that Tammy release you very soon, Lloyd. All right. Spottish Paul, good evening to you. October's very own, good evening. October's is saying here, if the lake not full by now, after all this rain, there definitely must be something wrong up Trafalgar. Yeah, very own. That is a good enough statement here. Jefferson Winston says, stay strong as well, Jeff. Steve Joseph, Holy Ghost Fire, Langford. I also have my brother, Massa Badimadan. That name, brother, always give me problem to pronounce, all right? So I'll just keep it short and say Alexander. That's my brother from Grand Bay. Massa Badiman, Alexander. That's a tongue twister right there, but all good. So brother Alexander from Granby, good evening to you. Janice Shaplice, Marlene Shillingford, greetings and give thanks. She's saying, Trans, yes, good evening to you. Nixon Pierre Cranberry, good evening to you. Judy Berry as well. Hazel Shillingford Ricketts, Mary Gold Popo, you're also there. Augustina John, saying, with all that rain, my people, please stay safe. We also have, what's that? Jos Joseph, that is Josue, Joseph. Adelaide, I think I call Adeline, sorry, I think I call you already, but she's saying great stuff on the YouTube channel. Owen Mafi, Mayan Tavernier Morley, yes, Molloy, good evening to you. Anthea George, Ambrose LeBlanc, Ras Eileen, good evening as well. Matthew Nelson, Holly Hodge, Carla Guy, Leonie James, Chiquito Thomas, Caril Fontaine, yes, Eliza Louise Gomes, Augustina John, Cheryl St. John, Bernard Aline, Adelaide now, Adelaide Paul, good evening to you as well. Add it here now, Lofty. Okay, yes, we'll do some of that as we're moving on, Adelaide. Also, who we have here again? Karen Joseph. Karen Joseph is saying he's at six subscribers now. So let's move it up. Blanc Denise Kingdom Citizen says she just subscribed. Norris Charles, brother Norris Charles, good evening to you, my brother, in a very, very special way. You and your family at this time. Joseph Lendor, Ronald Toulon, Christel Barry, TJ's Things, Dorian Dorival, Agnes Etienne, Matthew Nelson, I think I call that name already, Essence, James Theo, Drygo, Verna Charles, Jane Bernard. Who else we have here? Jan Joseph is watching and listening as well. Robert Dangleben, yes, Petra Carbon George, Pretty Joseph, Alex Batley, Cindy Uzeb, Jeffrey Pear, Chandra Senval, Lister George. Lister, long time to see, long time to hear. Hope that you're doing safe. Brian Joseph saying big up Lofty. Griffo Daniel as well saying good evening as well. Darren Yard says boom. Josephine Lendor, Carol Jules Matthew, Carol George, Robert Dangleben, Kent Joseph, Jasid Leroy James. Jasid, you're another brother. Good evening to you that is doing good things on the net. Continue to do what you do, my brother. Whenever I have time, I'm always tuned in to your output. All right. Martin Carbon. Yes. Andrina Franklin. Natasha Lloyd. Marcel Volney. Robert Dangleben. Who else we have? Brian Francis. Martin John Baptist. Lydia Molke Harris. Augustina John. Richie Charles. Leon Ismail. Andrea Henderson. Nazarene Prince. Nigel Corriott. Henry Kenyatta. Virginia Nicholas. Leonid James. Louis Francis. Vincia Francis. Marilyn Ohms. Swinder Martin. Rashi. Yes, is that Rashi Bell? Trevor Bertrand. Martin John Baptist again. I think I called that name already. Lynn Ostry. Thomas Attido. Paula Lupin. S.J. Valentine, you're in the house as well. Thai Francis, Thomas Attido, Lister George, Selena Anya Daru, you're there as well. And folks, the list goes on and on. At least what I can see from my end, at least 250 something folks are there. All right, we've already 158 comments with around 58 shares. Folks, we need to share the information. Please share the live. Just let the program get a little more active, all right? Evian Ernest, you just joined in. Carol Olivachi Bruni just joining in as well. So yes, folks, we are here and we are all ready to go indeed. I always like to put up that, sort of caution. Randy Christopher, good evening as well. Gamma Liel, good evening. Darren Allen, Finder Regis. Those of you are just tuning in at this time. Folks, it is 6:30 and so we have to cut it here. And in the interest of time, we have to move on. Okay? Dominicans, let me start with the Grotto. Folks, from very, very reliable sources. Very, very reliable sources. I can tell us that the Grotto, and for those of you who don't know, those of you looking on from overseas, who may not be from Dominica, the Grotto, it is this facility, it is this home in Dominica where our elderlies, they are kept, especially the elderlies in Dominica that in the twilight of years don't have anybody to take care of them physically at a home or at their homes. All right? So the country basically set up this home a long time back where it is called a Grotto. And so persons who are up in age, they normally go there. Some of them stay there until, the good Lord decide to call them home. Some of them stay there until some family members could make some arrangement for them. And then, they go to a much more comfortable setup. But the Grotto, folks, I'm being told, we are being told that that institution, the government of the day in Dominica, that is the Dominican Labour Party, have not been true to its mission, whereby the subventions, meaning the monies that are supposed to be allocated from the coffers of government to go into the running, the operations, the paying of the bills of the Grotto. The government have not been doing good by these people. And so, of late, we have been hearing talk about, the Grotto is under some serious financial pressure, whereby sometimes it really, as an institution, cannot cater for the many, many needs of some of the elderlies that are housed at that institution. Okay? So you know me very well. I normally do my background work. I just wanted to find out more in the interest of making their lives better. And I can tell you, for the month of July and August, August and September. These 2 months in particular, the monies that were supposed to come from the government to keep that place in a certain order did not come. Now, even before that, there was some, shenanigans there. So basically, the Grotto has been run as a facility under tremendous pressure. So you go like 3-4 months without anything. The workers who are working there under pressure have to work all those long hours without anything to go home to their family. And so it is getting from bad to worse people. And whenever the government that is come up with these monies, then it's basically to take care of the backlog. So the Grotto is not functioning as it's supposed to in terms of meeting the needs of the occupants at that facility. August and September just gone. I can tell you from very, very reliable sources from the horse's mouth that the subventions that were supposed to come in did not come in from the government's end. And it was a financial institution in Dominica, I guess through some intervention by some policymaker, that basically had to dip in their coffers as a private business now and had to help out in that scenario. So the bills for September and August were paid via check, that was made out from a local business here that deals with money, l'argent as it were. And that check had to be paid into the account of the Grotto. And so that is how the Grotto could at least buy groceries, pay the light bill, whatever bills they had to be paid, and also salaries for staff. Is that sustainable, people? That is not sustainable. And I'm also being told, people, from the grapevine, that is October, which is due in like what, 9-10 days, they are nowhere close in sight as yet in terms of knowing where the monies will be coming from to meet October's bills or October's debt. And so now with a country, with a government that prides itself on billions of dollars through a program called the CBI, because they told us back then, if not CBI is what? If not selling of our birthright, if not selling of our passports is what? That is the situation with one of the institutions in Dominica that is the responsibility in large measure where the government of Dominica is concerned. So when you hear that same government have as one of its slogans or taglines during their sham process called elections, when they tell us that they care for the elderly so much, it is these things now that we have to put into context, put into proper perspective, and ask them the question or questions when those campaigning time come around. So you may care for the elderly in your mouth, but as to caring for the elderly, indeed, it's a totally different ball game. Okay? It's a totally different ball game, people. And I am asking the question, how and when will that situation be rectified in the interest of the elderly in Dominica? We're also hearing as well the NEP, the how they call it, the National Employment Program, where young people supposed to be the beneficiary from, as it pertains to job or some sort of livelihood / an income. That program as well is under tremendous pressure ever so often for the younger, well, I shouldn't even say younger, because as I told you guys already, the age of these people that I'm seeing working under the NEP program, to me, it is defeating the purpose. But for all intent and purposes, let us use now, for that conversation, the younger set of people that's supposed to be directly impacted positively now. These people are being short paid. They are not being paid properly. They are not being paid on time. Folks, in this day and age, I know some of you will say, thank God for small mercies. And that is an all right posture to be taken on. But having said that, you also have to put into that same frame now the economic situation that we faced in the country. And so getting $800, under $1,000 for a salary in Dominica as a young person with bills, with commitments to meet, that I am saying in the present scheme of things, where the economy is concerned, cannot cut it, cannot continue to cut it. And so it is not only cannot cut it, but they are still not getting that cannot cut it pay on time to meet whatever needs they can meet with that token. But again, they tell us ever so often, the young people, they care for the young people. So that is two brackets of people there, the elderlies and the young people that are being shortchanged by the government of the day. And I make no apology for it. That is the facts on the ground. And so young people now need to find a way, an innovative way, to come out of that sort of quagmire that they have found themselves. Marcel Volney says modern day slavery. And yes, it is a form of modern day slavery. It is basically keeping the young people or the people in that program so tight that they really cannot breathe. So as we say in Dominica, it is from hand to mouth. I can never forget many, many years ago, a nurse told me, Lofty, Dominica have the poor, the very poor, and also the working poor. A nurse told me that many years ago. Father Sharpless, good evening to you, sir. Monel Alexis, good evening to you. So the working poor Dominicans, it's a section of the population whereby these people on paper, it can be recorded that they have some job, they have some kind of economic activity to go towards to, or to go to, that will pay them at the end of the month. But whether that economic activity is enough to sustain them and their family and their commitments, that is a different question altogether. So the nurse back then qualified these people as the working poor. So it is one thing to be poor. You know, you're poor, you're not working, you're just struggling along. That is one scenario. Have nothing, care for nothing, expect nothing. So if someone really and truly don't have a work to go to, they expect nothing. They should be on the pauper's roll, as it were. But for you to be working and you cannot meet your needs adequately, that is at the end of the month or the end of the fortnight or whatever it is, that, as Brother Volney said, and I concur, it is a form of modern day slavery, keeping you keeping you in a certain matter, in a certain manner. Brother John Vidal, I know you cannot hear me now, but I just blocked your comment and blocked you, so you cannot comment on that live anymore. I keep telling you folks, those of you who have a different mindset, a different orientation from what is being discussed here, nobody is asking you to come and stay. When you come, if you come and you don't like what is being said there, just please, just exit yourself in a very polite way. But to stay there and want to contradict and go back and forth, we will have none of it here. All right? And to insulting people back and forth, nah. Dominica is too much of a prized possession to be continuing in that sort of animalistic behavior. We have to agree to disagree and move on. I may not like all what you're saying and vice versa, but we have to agree to disagree and move on. All right, so let's get back on point. So yes, it is a form of slavery, and that is just a reality in life. And so the young people now in Dominica, they are crying out, really and truly crying out. Yeah, crying out. I really, folks, don't know. When I tell I don't know, I really don't know how some people in Dominica, they are making it. I saw Father Shapley's there. He may up to tell us it's by God's grace. And it may be true. Because for some people who have, 3, 4 children to take care of, folks, as we're speaking, I can hear the rain. It's pounding on the roof. So as I said before in the opening statements, we are in for some waters into the night. So be very, very careful. Persons who have 3, 4, 5, 6 children to take care of in this day and age, I really don't know. Trust me, my heart goes out to you guys. It is not a nice place to be living in Dominica at this time. Everything, as the song says, the Jamaican track, gone up. And what is not gunning up, what is not going up, it is your salary. How many years now, people? How many years we are at a very stagnant, a very stagnated place where our salaries are concerned? And so we as a people, having said all that, we have to come up with a way, Dominicans, to remove ourselves from that. We cannot continue like that. We cannot. We cannot continue, Dominicans. So, again, we are in a sad state. And we don't have to go far, people. Just look around us. Just look around us in the region. Every country in the region so far has surpassed us. So far, in terms of the economy. I keep saying what Dominica has going for it. It's our God-given bountifulness. And that's it. And not even that. Not even that. That our so-called leaders can use to enrich the lives of Dominicans. Not even that. So it is like the people in the good old book who are the talents. 1 talent, 5 talent, 10 talents. And if you don't know what to do with your God-given talent, it will be taken from you. So are we waiting until our resources, natural resources that is, are basically taken from us, which we are on that road already, based on our company that we are keeping, that we will eventually see the light and rise up or do whatever we have to do one day? No, we have to do whatever we have to do, people. We have to do. It is already 10 minutes to 7 o'clock. Let me see if I could take some comments on that first segment and then veer off. All right. Darren here says, remember Austria say we tired still last in the Caribbean. Bernard not Bernard, sorry. Dave Bertrand says this government will continue to do whatever they please because the people allowed them to do so. Soon Dominicans will be baking mud cookies as they did in Haiti. Margel Dira says the truth does bite them hard. They can't take it. All right, well, Margel, if the truth is biting them hard, I guess they know exactly what to do. Larry Lloyd says the government is a cancer. The place is dying. The place is dying. It has to be removed in order to survive. October's Varian says a lot of people rather, making it by digging deeper in debt. Some just decide they're not paying. And Varian, that is a very interesting comment you made there. Some persons are basically digging themselves further in debt. Because when you listen to the news, well, not the news, but, you know, our mediums of late, radio in particular, you are hearing that sort of extra energy that goes on by these institutions, financial as well as, you know, supermarkets and whatever it is, to basically now get the Dominican public to, I am saying sometime, to get themselves into situations that they don't really need. You're hearing all sorts of supermarkets advertising their stuff like, you know, that never used to happen before. In the week, last week, yes, I was telling somebody, I was listening to a business place through the advertisement on a radio station, and you could hear the employees, they're really trying their best to get Dominicans to come buy their stuff. I'm not saying a business will have to advertise, but Dominicans, we did not have that kind of it borders now on a level of desperation to stay afloat. To me, that is what I hear coming through sometimes. I know you have to be competitive. I know you have to stay afloat above the rest of your competitors. But it's like something is not happening right. So there's that extra energy that must go into, quote unquote, forcing Dominicans now to get engaged in certain things that they may not necessarily in ordinarily times or normal time get themselves engaged in. So you have all these fast loans and fast cash and cash for carnival and cash for Christmas and cash for school and cash for this and cash for that in a sort of fast track basis, not realizing the percentage that you have to pay back, the rate of paying back. You know, it is sky high, which will eventually plunge you into further debt, those of us who are in debt already. So Dominicans, let us be wise. Now that to me reflects on the situation that we are facing in the economy. Because if we are so cash strapped that every little thing that we have to do in our life, we have to take a loan to buy, it says something about the economy in which we are living. Something is not right. I said and keep saying, how many of us on the live there, how many Dominicans you know that have at least 5,000 EC dollars saved? Just that. After 23 years of a government in power. And don't come and give me your Nancy stories about persons are wasting their money, persons are going all out, persons are doing this. Yes, I get that. But there are persons who are religiously trying to make ends meet. They don't smoke, they don't drink, they don't run women, they don't take drugs, they, you know. And they really cannot, because the bills are not just adding up. The books are not balancing. How many of us can just get up tomorrow morning and decide, well, I want to take a trip to America to rest by my relative and go without, you know, having that headache of knowing where that money is coming from? And that is the crunch of the matter. And that is the, when we call ourselves an independent country, that is where it should matter. Not just eating kwapo and crab and dancing ballet. No, it is the level of independence now. That is the level of independence we should be celebrating. So that no politician and no policy maker could have any one of us come and bend, come and genuflect, come and kiss there wherever it is to go by. No. So when we come on that aspect of what does it mean for us as a people now to call ourselves an independent country, an independent nation, we will zero in on that point much more. And yes, I know it is tight all over, but my God, Dominica, for you to survive in Dominica, you have to be a lion or a lioness. That's it. And so some persons that go down the road of doing stuff on the negative side to make ends meet, that is no justification. But when your back is against the wall and survival is what matters and not living, you have to do whatever you have to do to survive. And that's the crunch, that's the crux of the matter. Two minutes to 7 o'clock. Dorian Charles says, or a politician ship. Dorian Dorival says, there are two Dorians here, I don't know why some people want to support the evil that is going on in Dominica. Larry Lloyd said, one side alone not eating. Adelaide Joseph, Dominicans are basically being choked by the system. Calagai, Dominican need to have a 401k. Claudette Duran says, I had a fair share of it after working for 43 years in the service. Kenda Nicholas says, genuinely trying. Yes, Kenda, that is a better term than what I use. Some persons are genuinely trying to make it as teachers, as civil servants, as fire officers, as policemen and women, as, you know, the janitors, as whatever it is. And for some reason, they just cannot seem to make ends meet. And to me, it all boils back on the system in which we are operating. When I have to buy stuff in the supermarket, take for example for my boy to send to school, a yogurt was what, $3, $4, no, the same yogurt is $7 and change, people. Pretty close to double the price. You're buying bananas now in Dominica that used to be a thing people used to just give people before. I know times have changed. One banana now is 50 cents. And it depends on where you buy it. It will go up to 60 and 75 cents. A pound of this, a pound of that is whatever price. Codfish, I saw on social media a lady making noise in St. Lucia, I believe it was. Pound of codfish or whatever poundage of codfish she bought for $12 or $11. And I say, but my lady, you need to come to Dominica to buy that same kind of codfish you're making noise therefore in your country. And you may drop. Because codfish is now what? $16, $17, $18 a pound. Considered to be the poor man's food before. Smoked herring. Again, $12 for what? 4 little of those. Yes, Marshall, plantain is now $1 for one. And it depends on the size of the plantain. If it is ripe, you get it for $1.25, $1.50 for a grain. And we have what it takes in Dominica to grow these things at liberty. But our people have forgotten agriculture, and that is where we end up. Basic stuff, people: rice, sugar, flour, bread, milk, basic stuff. Not even that. A government is seeing the need to release the people by removing those taxes on these commodities. Not even that. For the ordinary / poor people to survive. We are not talking about luxuries. We are not talking about bacon and eggs. We are not talking about ham and cheese. We are talking about butter, flour, rice, sugar, peas, the basic commodities. The basic of the basics. A tin of corned beef now, I went in a store the other day and I had to put it down. I had to put it down. $11.50, $12 for a tin of corned beef, people. Sardine is big people food now. Before sardines was, ordinary people food. You don't have meat, you open a sardine. $1.80, $1.50, $1.70. Sardine now is $4 a tin of sardine, people. And the further out you go, it's the more expensive it gets, because the people have to, adjust their price to make a profit at least. And that is what it is, people. And so when we tell you in Dominica, things gone up, things are not right, you wonder what you guys are talking about, but that is our reality. When you can buy a big jar of peanut butter in wherever country for $4, $5, the largest jar, you get that here for $30. I'm telling you. If you want proof, I can show it to you. I have one in my cupboard now. $30-something. So the government is telling you and I, if we cannot buy, we should die. That's it. That's it. And so we now need to, as a people, this is not any politics again, people. We have to, as a people, come up with a way or ways to remove ourselves from that burden. Somebody said before, the Labour Party is a cancer, and I believe that. So if your leg is cancerous, if your foot, if your what, you cut it out. That is it. That's the only way we can survive in the country, in moving into the future. We have to cut out that limb that is cancerous, that will take over the entire body eventually. The only reason, people, some of us in Dominica are not seen as yet eating in garbage pans in Dominica, except the paros on the road and, the less fortunate people, it is because some Dominicans still have a conscience. We still have a heart. We still have a love for our brothers and sisters. So if I go by my neighbor up there, if I go down there, I say, neighbor, I'm hungry, give me a piece of food. They might give me a piece of food today. I don't know if I'll get tomorrow, or give me a hand of fig, or give me a dashin, or give me something. So that is what some Dominicans go by on a daily basis. So if they ask that person today, they cannot ask that same person tomorrow. And that is the brass tacks of what we are facing. And when you tell people that, they cannot comprehend that. They cannot understand that. And that is the reality of our situation. Your neighbor come out in the garden, you have some grapefruits, and tell you, look some grapefruit, look some, tangerine, look, So there's still that camaraderie. There's still that love among Dominicans that we knew before. Why Dominicans are not seen eating in garbage pans or garbage bins as yet. But if we continue on that road, people, every man have to do whatever they have to do to secure themselves. So are we waiting when we get to like a Venezuela, a Haiti to a small extent, for us to wake up? No, we have to do what we have to do now to adjust ourselves to get rid of that. That's it. We have to, people, and it will be my greatest joy before the good Lord that is called me home to see Dominicans a proud people again. Once we achieve that and can maintain that, then to me, my work would have been done. But right about now, it's in a very, very sorry state, people. Not even on the port. Let's say your family send a little something for you. Not even on the port. The government have the interest of the people at heart. Try clear a barrel on the port. Try it with basic commodities. We're not talking about things to sell and things to make life as logs. No. Thin stuff, you know. Macaroni and cheese. Flour. Little stuff. And you have to pay that excessive price to clear a barrel to survive. And you're talking about that is a government that cares for the people. And I wouldn't mind if the government or if the country now, well, not the government, let me retract that. Not if the government, if the country, did not have resources. The reports are coming out. Dominica's dollars are all over the globe in hidden accounts all over the place. So we now turn a country whereby, like these dictators in these little holes in Africa, whereby every dictator wants to steal, wants to rob from its people. Hide monies there, hide monies over there, have accounts here, have shell companies here, and just keep the people resources away from them. And that is where we are in Dominica. And praise God, these reporters are telling it to us. How many passports have been sold for how many dollars? And we just cannot see those monies filtering on the ground. And some Dominicans are prepared to just accept that for what it is. We have to get away, Dominicans, to bring back our monies to our country and let these people pay. It cannot continue like that. So wherever they have it, be it in Timbuktu, be it in Seychelles, be it in Zimbabwe, be it on the whole, wherever it is, they have to be able to be held accountable for our monies. Sad but true. Dominica has its own dictatorship we are going through now. 23 years of that, people. And I make no apology for that. So it's not just because some of us can come and speak publicly still, we are not in a dictatorship. It's not just because some of you have a job to attend to that is not paying you the right pay, we are not in a dictatorship. We have to extricate ourselves, Dominicans. We have to. In the interest of time. Dominicans, let's move on. I'm being told there's a particular minister of government, and that particular minister of government, well, it's in the court records now. So I think I can speak to it and call that minister's name. Because if a search is done, that minister's name will come up. Mr. Fidel Grant. There was a case in court that Fidel Grant placed in court against a relative of his. I will not go into whatever that case is or was. But whatever that matter was in the court, Fidel Grant's name was attached to that case. Marcelino, I haven't forgotten you, my brother. I saw you in Rosa one of these days, in your usual style and fashion, without shirt and chatting away. But we will chat. I'll check you sometime. And this Fidel Grant minister from the Wesley area, Palret for that area, I can tell you that whatever the matter was in court, it was thrown out. Because the court, I guess, decided it was a waste of the court's time to bring that matter before it. So it was thrown out. But I can also tell you that there was a $25,000 request in that matter, the asking in terms of if that outcome was in the favor of Fidel Grant. Now, Fidel Grant, before you became a minister under this whatever passes for a party, you're a human being, my brother. And if the matter that I'm being told is true and nothing but the truth, you should be very ashamed of yourself to go down that road in terms of even attempting to put a matter like that before the court against another family member. There are certain things that can be solved. There are certain things that can be rectified by at least a conversation. And I believe that one was one of them. And I also believe that is the only reason why the court decided it cannot have more of that. So the court decided to throw out the matter. So I would want to think, Mr. Grant, that should serve you notice as to how you can deal or should be dealing with a matter in the future, not just as Pal Rep, but as a human being, as a family member, as a relative first of all, before a matter of that nature reaches in the court. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Fidel, and some persons on the live here know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I am just as a citizen, just guiding you, my brother, because sometimes when we hold certain positions, we make those positions cloud our better judgment. And so next time, if ever a thing like that should come up, let good sense prevail, my brother. I rest on that. Quarter past the hour. Dominicans, we are set to celebrate 45 years as a country in the next couple of days. 3rd of November to be precise. "45 years as a quote-unquote democratic country, as a free country, if that is the term to be used properly. There are certain things that we should go by, or we should be going by already. 45 years old, an adult, you are an adult. And so I think by now, being 45 years as a country from Britain, that is, we should be able to have locked down certain situations as a nation, as a people. So the question to us tonight, what are we really and truly celebrating after 45 years? I want us to sort of ponder on that, because that have been sort of going through my mind, and it is sort of troubling. What are we really and truly celebrating as a country after 40? What is there for us to celebrate? Is it the God-given resources that we are celebrating still? Is it things that we came up as a people in very innovative ways to build, to procure, to do, to invent? Is that what we are celebrating? Or are we just celebrating the release from England, as it were? Is that what we are celebrating? Is it our cultural wear that we are celebrating? We have them on display, or tete casse and whatever it is. Is it the food that we are celebrating? What really does 45 years of independence mean in the truest of form to you and I? What? Ponder on that, people. Remember, out of those 45 years, 23 of that so far have been under one brutal regime, and I make no apology for it. So just there, about the halfway mark of that celebration, whatever it is we are celebrating, we have only known one regime. And that one regime there, we need to ask ourselves a question, a couple of questions now. What is it? What is it that that regime has facilitated in order to be really and truly celebrating, or in that celebratory mood? What is it? I am waiting for answers in that regard. What is it that we are celebrating? Because when we look at Dominica today, people, when we look at the everyday operations, we have to wonder, what is it that we are celebrating? You have a country where there is no freedom of press. There is no FOA in Dominica. No freedom of act in place. So you as a journalist, you as somebody that want to bring the stories in a very truthful, factual, unadulterated manner to the people, it's like a hanky-panky business. You always have to go, and somebody always have to, don't say that, don't say. Is that what is the meaning or suppose of an independent country? And if you don't have freedom of press in any country, we can already start to count ourselves out of that bracket. Our legal system, on top of that, it is so congested, it is so combobulated. You have cases there, 15 years lingering in the system that cannot be called. Where is the justice in that independence celebration? Where is the justice? Where it is? You call a police, or you call the law to attend to a situation on your behalf, and sometimes, not all the time, the police have this sort of hands-off approach. It's like, you call me, yes, but I'm only coming to hear your matter. I'm not coming to help you deal with the matter. So, as a result, you have this vigilante justice now creeping in, or has crept in. You have the police asking people to bring in their guns of late. Because why? In their mind, crime has taken over the land. Is that what we're celebrating? Is that what we are celebrating? And the same people who are asking people to bring in their guns, their unlicensed firearms or whatever it is, they know jolly well where the majority of these unlicensed firearms lie down. But they will come with this hypocritical posture now and play as if they are in the interest of justice by asking persons to bring in their unlicensed firearms. You have a senior police officer in Dominica in the name of Mr. Corbett. Julius, what's his name? Julius Corbett is his name? Look at him, forget his name. Somebody remind me of his name, please. Corbett, Mr. Corbett, a senior police officer. Not a low-ranking little brother, you just joined constable or moving up there. No, the man is acting commissioner of police sometimes. Lincoln, thank you very much, my friend Janice. Not Julius. Sorry, Julius. Lincoln Corbett was named and is named in affidavits in the court in Antigua and in Dominica. Is not me. His name is named in black and white on paper as he being involved in a crime where a man was kidnapped from Antigua, brought to Dominica against his will. Lincoln Corbett named as police deputy. That is on the record. And you have that same police officer will come in a press conference and ask criminals to bring in their guns. Lincoln Corbett should already have taken a back seat. Your name or your position that you held then should not be mentioned in that high caliber crime. And you are still sitting and dressing in gabardine with your little black sticking tongue. Doing what? Saying what? I am saying the law already should have kicked in and told you to step aside pending an independent investigation. And at the end of that, let the chips fall where they may. You should not still be drawing full salary on the Dominicans' back, on my back, where your name is involved, my brother. So when you guys come in and talk about crimes, as one of them guys said in song, Peter Tosh or one of them, don't tell me about crimes. Show me the criminals. Straight up. So if we were serious about our independent celebrations now, a man like Lincoln Corbett should not be part of the police force, at least for now. At least let us start there. So don't come and tell me about 45 years of celebration. It irritates me to the core. We are not. And adding salt to a wound, you have now a man in the Prime Minister's chair, Roosevelt Skerry, running a country for umpteen years now. And his government, what he's leading, so many allegations come up over and over and over. And they are using the same crooked court system that I spoke of earlier to do whatever that needs to be done so that they don't answer to their crimes or alleged crimes. That's what it is. And so tell me what we are about in Dominica now. Tell me what we are about, people. Tell me what we are celebrating. You think in England that we untied ourselves from, symbolically speaking, a cautioning like that, all these allegations of passport money hiding here, there, and everywhere could go on in England unabated like that, and somebody don't pay for it as yet? You think Lincoln Corbett could be a police in the UK and his name is involved in that kind of a drama, and he is not made to answer question, he and the others? You think a man could be gone down in the bush and same Lincoln Corbett come and telling us he had a free fit cutlass, raising, chasing after the police, and they murdered the man in the bush, and a man like Lincoln Corbett would still be there in Gabardine today? We are serious, Dominicans. We are serious. So when we're talking about independence, let us start from where truly independence starts. So if our laws not in order, if our court is in shambles, if some of the elements in the police force, not the lower ones, the higher bracket ones, are in tatters, what do we expect? What do we expect? If a prime minister so-called, have the audacity, have the gall to be living in a house and is charging an economy that is on its knees, pretty close to 70,000 EC a month, what are we celebrating? And it's not that he doesn't have options. It's not that he doesn't have option for proper accommodation. What are we celebrating, people? You know what $70,000 could do in this economy a month? Dominicans, wise up, man. You know what that could do, people? And this is the same man that is imposing on the people, would want to come and take a podium on the 4th of November and come and sing how great thou art in terms of a country. The same man would want to present himself to you, and as somebody says, the Grotto cannot get paid. The NEP workers cannot get paid. The struggling civil servants in the country, the backbone of the economy, the people who do the work to let this country run on a day-to-day basis, they are going through the grinds. The doctors, the professionals, they are struggling to make ends meet. When a nurse comes from work and she have to roll and raise and bathe and help medicate, and she come home, she don't have time for family. A policeman have to be jumping over hell high waters to keep her safe. And these people are punched to the ground, and you have a selected few running away with the cream of the country. That is not right. And so whatever we are celebrating, we need to go back to the drawing board, as Brother Bob said in Psalm. We need to go back. Something is not right. And I don't know what has bewitched us as a people, but we need to get out of that mold. Something is wrong, people. It's either we're not thinking straight, or somebody has bamboozled us. Somebody has bewitched us. Somebody has given us some Kool-Aid to drink, like Jim Jones, and we are not thinking straight. cannot. And call me unpatriotic if you want. But I cannot be part of no independent celebrations in Dominica unless these scenarios and more, they are rectified in the interest of country. I don't want to deprive my boy from wearing his chapeau pie and his chapeau pie and his chapeau. But me personally, I cannot consciously be part of that. Trust me when I tell you that. It hurts my heart to be putting on a chapeau pie, a red piece of sash, a piece of madras, a black pants. To say what? To do what? I don't want to be part of that. That is hypocrisy to the core. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just telling you my stance. I cannot be part of that. The word independence. The word independence, people, should mean something to us as Dominicans. When you have your right as a citizen being sold all over the globe for peanuts to billionaires and millionaires that can afford much more than those peanuts they're paid, and the goodies are still not coming home, I can't be part of that celebration. And so don't expect yours truly to be in packed with any madras singing any Creole song this time around. That wasn't in my DNA for some time. It cannot be part of my DNA in moving forward. Trust me. Every man have a right to his own destiny, and that is my right. That's it. We are now on the verge of being recolonized by a people called the Chinese, and we are not seeing that. We are not astute enough to understand where we are as a people. We are not astute enough. There's no free meals, no free lunch in life, people. The Chinese don't love us as a black people that much to come and set up shop with these freebies. What are they looking for? What are they after? What do they want? And we have a bunch of people that passes for government can only see as far as their nose, that is willing to accommodate that sort of transaction that will lead us right back into where we say we were 45 years ago. So the question remains, what are we really celebrating? What are we celebrating? Dorian Charles says 70,000 can pay Grotto. Easy. Kent Joseph, what independence? With a question mark. Politicians are controlling all independent institutions, the police force, electoral commission, the judicial system. Dominica is a failed state. It is better we had remained under England. Ronnie Ruiz says, Marian, something about crumbs. Marcelin Edwards says, how many of them will become what? Moyons or Mouillons? They have nothing to fear, and that's why they will remain salaried criminals on the backs of Dominicans. Margel Dira says 70 grand will go a long way to help the Grotto. Gary Phillips says, I've always said if someone is willing to make a positive contribution to his or country, the political party they support should not matter. Their contribution is for the benefit of the citizens. How can a government claim? Let me get to that comment here. I think that one ran off. But thank you very much for that comment. Estelle Labassier writes something here. That comment again So many comments coming through. Carol Fontaine says we are trampling on our constitution. Bernard Ulysses says the infirmary and Grotto homes need that kind of money. Karen Joseph here writes again, what independence? For many years now, my feelings towards our celebration of independence have lessened more and more each year. There is nothing to celebrate. The country has gone backwards instead of moving forward. Forward. Our people are suffering. The young people are frustrated and depressed. The working class is struggling. The elderly are neglected. Very own rights. That is the government Levi Peter loves and adores. While they keep you from your rights through economic bondage, so they can continue to take advantage of our deprived and desperate young people. Bazi Cheryl writes, I hope Dominicans know the new airport is 50-year lease. All right. Mary Lorio says, on the third, every one of them should stand with their placards and says, we need new leadership. Scary, it's time for you to exit. Ferdinand Lawrence writes, what you are doing makes you patriotic. Adelaide Paul, you are very patriotic, my brother. Who else we have here in terms of more comments? Boycott independence, that is what Robin Melbadonna is suggesting. I agree with you, Lofty. Usil Rui says, scary is something. Well, as to what you said there, Laurie, I cannot pledge for that. So I'll not go down that road in terms of any defaming comments here, but your comment is yours nonetheless. Thank you very much. Verna Charles says, Elas. Brian Joseph right. Brian, yes, real vibes. Darren says, I not bewitched now. Darren says, not bewitched. Marshall Lawrence says, still something 30% risk in a struggling economy. Yes, we have to get to that topic as well, in terms of some raise of pay that we heard that, gone on some time back. Griffo Daniel says, I agree with you. Toro Brady says, I am with you, Lofty. Clara Lynn Warrington says, only in lovely Dominica. Carol Fontaine, we are definitely bewitched. Something is demonic in my country. Larry Lloyd says, stand up for something or fall for anything. Darren Yard comes back and writes, I'm not taking part in independence. Ferdinand Lawrence says, that's madness self. Cheryl continues here, Dominica was never independent. It's a Commonwealth of Great Britain. So all this is for sure. Let me just take some new names, or some other names, instead of going over some names that I call already. Gina Castles writes, True Talk. Estila Labas here writes, I don't think it's me or my children going in none of these independent magie. She calls this one. Glenda Lavi Dubuton. Glenda, you celebrated something the other day. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday of this week. What was that? Happy belated, my friend. And I hope that you get home very, very safe. You are one of those that, you are out there trying to get into your beautiful country. But you said the anthem now should be I, Dominic, by Miss Ophelia. Tac writes, and don't tell me it was no accident. No, open your eyes. Cheryl continues, hello then. They only have a 50-year plan, my friend. Who else we have? Thaddeus James is looking on and watching. Adelaide Joseph writes, there has been no independence in Dominica for the past 23 years. Marietta Gordon says, Lofty, I agree with you 100%. Kingdom Citizen writes, Dominica hasn't been independent since 2000. Most of the names and comments that I see coming here, it is the persons who have commented earlier, all right? So I'll not be repeating some of these comments. I'm trying to look for some new names. Detouche Alfred writes, it's a while I've been listening to this program, and thank you, Alfred, for listening. Unfiltered Diasporas write, Dominicans are not independent, and you all celebrating, asking that all-important question. The only thing that should be happening in Dominica right now is a revolution to take out the rogue Skerrit regime. Emmanuel writes, I will only celebrate when I see Skerrit and his cabal at Stock Farm. Anthony Ismail writes, our people are asleep at the wheel. Annie LeBlanc writes, we're celebrating passport. Ronald Bernard writes, Lofty, I agree with you. Anthony Ismail, I can't celebrate independence while our parrots are still in Germany. Gina Castle writes, that was my season. You missing a S there, Gina, but I caught it. The last time I took part in that was when Daddy Chess made that song, Forward We Go. I saw Dominica took a turn for the worse. I feel there is nothing to celebrate. Tad is laughing. As to what you're laughing, Tad, then, you know, we may have to talk about that privately, Tad. Tad, good evening to you, my bro. Marian Gum says, lofty, you are so right. Misha John says, a first lofty rough. Well, Miss John, I know sometimes I'm rough around the edges, but what you see, what you get, all right? Thank you very much for watching as well. I hope that you guys are doing safe in Antigua and everything will be A-OK. That is Miss Misha John here. Faye Dashin says, I, Dominic. That is a song penned by Ophelia Marie. Viva Mamo is watching as well. Ruth Ann Cyril writes, arise, arise, Dominicans, arise. Do something, alas, our country indeed. Let me see if I could get to another person here on Messenger this time. He says, this is pure wickedness and greed. Scary top up his salary by 30%, and NEP and Grotto suffering that bad. Oh no. Greedy calling that push him to challenge the person. All right, well, I think you knew something about that case that I spoke of before. Dory Drago writes here, good evening, brother, locked in from North Carolina, USA. Guidance to everyone logged in into the program. Enough respect. Brother Drago, good evening to you as well, in a very, very special way. All right, Dominicans, it's what? 17 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. We have to wind down in 17 minutes time. I will not go into any more quote-unquote heavy metal stuff tonight again because of the interest of time. So if you guys have any comments, any more questions, please send it my way and I'll try to engage them before we wind down the program. All right, but before we do, there's one clip that I want to bring to your attention. Let me see if I can pull up that clip so that we can go back in time just a bit before we bring the program to a wrap here. Let me see if I could pull up that clip from the new tongue, the new tongue pal rep. All right, yeah, let me see if I get this here. Let me just pan this camera here. Yeah. Where's this? I think it's this one. Yeah. Let me see if I could bring up the volume on this. Bring that up. All right, I think we got that running. So folks, yes, that is a clip from Shakira. He pulled it Lockhart, I believe. Made that on the campaign trail in 2019 thereabout. I just want to wind down, as we wind down the program tonight, let you guys, you know, it has been making rounds on social media, but I just want us to listen to it, and as we try to put it in perspective before we bring it to a wrap. All right, let's hear from Shakira.
Lump sum that they can use to do a business, help to secure a house, or apply toward educational training overseas. using part of the revenues from the Citizenship by Investment Program, Labour will give every young person just after their 21st birthday a cash lump sum that they can use to do a business, help to secure a house, or apply toward educational training overseas.
Dominicans, you need to hear that one more time, right? One more time. One more time.
Of the revenues from the Citizenship by Investment Program, Labour will give every young person just after their 21st birthday.
Labour. Shakira Lockhart said, people. Labour. And when she said Labour, not Labour as a young woman in Labour. Labour Party, the Dominican Labour Party that she is part of. Roosevelt has been heading for some time. That is the Labour Party that Shakira is talking about. Labour will give every young person just after their 21st birthday a cash lump sum from the CBI program.
A cash lump sum that they can use to do a business, help to secure a house, or apply toward educational training overseas.
Labour, she said, will give to every young person after their 21st birthday a cash lump sum. That cash lump sum, Hippolyte said then, was to help them secure a small business. Help them to secure, she said, a small business people. Help them to go towards their home, a new house. And people, we have to ask, what's her name? Shakira, where is that today? Where is that promise today, people? Where is those words today? Where are those words today, Shakira Papa Boji?
Every young person, just after their 21st birthday, a cash lump sum that they can use to do a business.
A cash lump sum that they can use to do a business. You heard that, people? How many young people in Dominica today that have business, let me add, thriving businesses as a result of that promise from Shakira / the Labour Party? How many people? How many?
Help to secure a house.
How many people have secured a house so far as part of that cash lump sum that Shakira said in 2019?
Or apply toward educational training overseas.
Or apply towards educational training overseas. Shakira, where are those words of yours today? And folks, let me tell you something. We are hearing Shakira with that. Okay? We are hearing Shakira with that. But when we heard Shakira with that, remember, Shakira is part of a Labour Party, whatever it is. And so Shakira could not just have gone out and said something like that without the approval or the agreement of the head honcho, Roosevelt, me that scary. And so we now have to tie Shakira's lies back to Roosevelt's carrot and the Labour Party. So young people, you need to go to now ask Shakira, ask her for your lump sum. Person should not be putting up themselves for office and just be saying what comes out of their mind to fool you and I during their campaign drama. So the young people who are struggling today, who don't have a thriving business, who wants to go and study that cannot study, who wants to put a piece on their house, or who wants to get a house going. They now need to come to you, Shakira, Roosevelt by extension, your Labour Party by extension, and basically demand that lump sum from the CBI. And if you guys cannot come up to scratch, then you need to know what to do. But it cannot be you just go on a political platform and make this kind of fallacies, this kind of false statements, this kind of unfulfilled promises and get away with it. So to me, Shakira Lockhart, before she goes back up on any political platform, she has to come to explain away to the Dominican public, especially the young people, what happened to the promises she made, especially to the young people. And that, to me, it is holding people accountable. That is what we need to do, people. You see, 19, 20, like 4 years on. So, Dominicans sort of have memoir pool. But the recordings, they are there for a reason. The archives, they are there for a reason. It is to go back. And I'm talking about Shakira now. That should hold true for anybody who is in that kind of prestigious position, people. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So it is not just because you don't like Shakira, you should come down on them, and because you like somebody else, you should give them a bye. No. When our politicians tell us things, they should not just be telling us things to fool us. They should be telling us things of substance, and if they cannot come up with the goods, be man enough, be woman enough to come and say, you know something, I promise you guys that, but I apologize, we cannot fulfill that promise. That is what democracy should mean. That is what independence should mean. So to tie back the conversation we're having, things like that should not go without redress whilst we continue to celebrate. Things like that should not go on a BT Dominicans. It should not. So it wasn't Shakira that was promising that. The words came from her mouth. But it's the old crooked, wicked, brutal regime that was telling the young people that through the voice of Shakira. And so by extension now, the entire cabal should be held responsible for Shakira's statement. The CBI now is in tatters. Roosevelt Scary, Dr. McIntyre, the finance gurus in Dominica, they say of late, cannot come up now with any plausible reason as to why Dominica's name continues to be sordid in that mess globally. They cannot. They are waiting, just waiting, that those reports will just evaporate. They will just die a natural death. Dominicans will forget about them, and then they will feel comfortable again to continue in their lives. So the reports have been coming out up till now, apart from the little Al Jazeera call them the hyenas, the little hyenas on the ground that running around with gossip and propaganda and spin. You yet to hear from the government as yet as to a response or rebuttal to those investigative reporting. And so it's on that note I want to end by telling us tomorrow from 6 o'clock, we here in Civic Vibes, we have been doing the work on your behalf. We'll be having another, last week we had one, we'll be having another journalist tomorrow coming to speak to us into much more detailed information now as to why our passports have been ended up in the hands of people they are not supposed to. So Brother Zach Coplin will be our guest tomorrow, so please be in tune for that. Finally, Dominicans, finally, it is one thing to hear. It is good to hear, but it is also good to act in accordance with what you heard and what you are hearing. So these people that come in to talk to us over and over and over again, it is not that they don't have work to do. It is not that they have time to waste and they're just wasting it on us. They are telling us, bringing us the information in very factual forms for a reason. And let us not as a people now let their work go in vain by we not acting expeditiously now on the work that they have been doing on our behalf. Because we can't do that work. As I said before, there is no Freedom of Information Act in Dominica. That is above our pay grade. But luckily, as divine intervention would have it, something is happening, as you just heard in Labour Party song. Something is finally happening. And that something can only happen in the divine order to the benefit of Dominica, Dominicans, and country. Folks, it is 2 minutes to 8. I have to go. Remember, folks, those of you tuned in late, my YouTube channel is now up and running, entitled Lofty Live. So just go on YouTube now, click in Lofty Live, and it will come up. All the videos that we have been doing over the years, they will be uploaded there. And so I ask you, I beseech you to subscribe to the channel and let us continue the work together as a people. All right, Dominicans, thank you very much. For those of you who know me very well, time is time. I know you guys make time, those 2 hours, to be back. And it have to really be something to keep you a minute after those 2 hours. All right? Thank you, Dominicans. I want to wish you guys well. Those of you in the path of the storm still, hurricane. Sorry. Wish you guys well. Wish you guys safety out there. And so let us do what we have to do as a people to ensure that our country, Dominica that is, will once again be the beacon that it once was in the region. All right, I normally leave us with a number, Dominicans. Please, anybody, come up with a song. That's our wind down song. The first one let me not say the first one, because some of you normally beat other people to it. I will choose one that I think is apt for us to end tonight. So it may not necessarily be the first one. All right, so please plug in some songs here that you may want to hear, at least one of them, and we will end with that. All right, thank you, Dominicans. See you next day. Well, next week, same time, same place. But tomorrow, on the CV Vibes program for another program of national importance.